morning, everybody. Good morning, friends. It's Saturday morning. And as promised, here I am at 9 a.m. I am a little sleepy. Didn't sleep that well last night. But want to be accountable and true to my word. So here I am this morning to talk today about a really timely subject. Love your enemy. I'm going to tell you that I'm a little distracted in my head, but I know it all will come together. Probably I'll say this every time. I went down a rabbit hole a little bit, looking for stuff on the internet to, I don't know, just decide how I was going to go about this chat this morning. And I ended up on YouTube listening to Tom McDonald, who's a rapper. He has a song called Fake Woke. It's a little controversial for some people, not for others. It was interesting I ended up watching videos of people watching his video and responding to it, and of course those are different reactions depending who it is that's watching it. But it just reminded me how much, I don't know, it seems like if you're on media a lot, that a lot of people consider a lot of people to be enemies. So I think the first, there's two things we have to talk about when we look at this biblical principle of loving your enemies. One is, what does it mean to love? And the other is, who is your enemy? I'd like to say that I've never considered anyone my enemy in life, but that wouldn't be true. But I really can only think of maybe 2 or 3 people in my whole life that I've really thought of as an enemy. So I would say the characteristic of that would have been my perception being that person was actively trying to harm me, maybe even deceptively, that I had no understanding of how to counter that it wasn't an open kind of thing where there could be dialogue, and that no matter how much I used, Stella, no matter how much I used my own knowledge and my own skills to try to manage the situation, I couldn't. So I just felt helpless. I think helplessness is a big part of it. I felt helpless in a situation where I felt like another person was purposely causing me harm. I would guess that in those few situations, I saw those people as enemies. So, yes, I did, but that's me seeing them as an enemy is different than me actually saying to you, this person is my enemy. I will say today that I don't consider anyone my enemy. I had to take a real good look and decide if I'm experiencing this person as my enemy, I need to look at the situation and really see why. And there are probably things I have in my power to do to separate myself from that dynamic as it stands. And then maybe I can also pray for that person and wish them well. Pray that God will open my eyes and my heart, and pray that God will open their eyes and their heart as well. And then maybe some dynamics will change, and maybe we will see each other differently. And maybe we will be able to find a place to reconcile that relationship, and maybe not. So let's talk about love for a second. Does loving someone, does loving your enemy mean you have to have an active relationship with them? Like face-to-face personal relationship with them? I would say no. Depends. Depends who they are. So what does love mean? How can you love someone and not have an active relationship with them? You can, in your heart, wish them well. You can pray for God to work in their lives and teach them whatever it is they might need to learn, but teach you also what you might need to learn, because always be open to the possibility that you are seeing the situation through your own lens, which is probably not perfectly clear. So I think that's a big piece, always being willing to know that there's probably something we don't know. So there's different kinds of love, right? There's like 7, I don't know. Every time I read about the kinds of love that are talked about in the Bible, there's more. I used to think there were 3. That's what I had originally learned. And then I saw 4. And then today I saw 7. And I said, I don't know. There are a lot. But the really, like the 3 basic ones, I think, are Eros, which is that more erotic, sexual kind of love. It burns fast and hot, but then it usually fades away. There's Philos, which I believe is a more friendly type of love, affectionate. It's what we have with our friends. It's what we have with family, although there's another word. I think it's storge, that's even more maybe binding, that we would have with family. So there's that love, and which probably is Philos, what we have with most people. And then there is agape love, which is the love we talk about when we say how God or how Jesus loved us. It's that unconditional love, that self-sacrificing love. There is a relationship in that, but for us, I would say that that's always something for us to strive for and not easy for us to do unless we are growing spiritually and open to help. And recently I heard a sermon, and I apologize to whoever said it because I'm not sure if I heard it from my pastor in my church. I think so, but it might have been somewhere else, so I'm not going to quote particularly. But it was the insight that even Jesus, when Jesus hung on the cross and he said, forgive them, they know not what they do. He didn't yell, I forgive you. You know not what you do. He yelled to his Father. He yelled to God and said, forgive them. They know not what they do. So what that tells me is it's understandable that we are not always going to be able to enter that sense of broad, completely unselfish, unconditional love for every person, every institution, every government, every, the political, however we group people. Please try not to group people any more than necessary. I don't think it's necessary. I don't like it. I think it takes away from truth. But anyway, any way that you view a person or people and give an identity there, we just probably aren't fully capable of that. Unless and until we seek God to do it through us. So, of course, this is growing your beautiful life. It's a growth process. There is a given life, a given spirit in us that we didn't create ourselves. And when we, I think, come to places where we're not able to do what we know would be best, like have agape love for someone we consider an enemy, we need to cry out, and even if you're not a Christian or you don't have a religious faith that you believe in, you don't have an entity or an icon or whatever that you would cry out to, just cry out. I need help with this. I want to be more open. I want to understand how I can better see this. I want to know how I can love all people. How can I love my enemies? Help me know. Just by saying that, you broaden yourself. You open yourself up to learning. So, yeah, unconditional love. Do I care about the well-being of all people? A lot of times today you hear people say, hey, you should be loving all people, and then they define who they mean by all people. But when you do that, you're usually excluding someone else. We should love all people, all of these people. Oh, those people? No. All of these people, love all of these people. If you're thinking, oh yeah, that guy does that all the time, then you're not getting this. Because this is about looking at ourselves and saying, who do I consider all people? And who do I put outside of that box? That's the growth process. You know, anytime you hear a lesson that makes sense to you, but you're just relating it to other people, you're not learning. You're still comparing. You're still looking at others. It's challenging to look at ourselves. It takes some time, and it's not always comfortable. So we see a lot of things today about certain kinds of expression are okay, certain opinions are okay, certain opinions aren't okay. You're allowed to do this if you're this person. You're allowed to do this if you're this person, whatever. None of that, to me, falls under the idea of love your enemies or experience unconditional love. See, it's not always a comfortable process. It means coming face to face with things we don't understand or agree with. It means being able to hear underneath what someone is saying and have dialogue where you're interested in getting to the root of the thoughts or the opinions. Seeing who someone is beneath the ego and the worldly labels. And it's true for everyone. So, I'm really curious to know if y'all see this. I know it looks like a couple people are watching live. Thank you. Hi, Gail. If you all see this, even if it's not live, you can still post comments. And I'm really interested to know who you think of as an enemy and what it means to you, what you think you're being asked to do to love your enemy. I wish I could have a group discussion on this. I don't think I'm going to get to the core of it by talking about it by myself. I think unconditional love has to be Gail, it looks like you can be brought. Do you want to chat with me live? Because I can bring you on camera. That would be interesting. Let me know. I'll watch the comments. I think unconditional love, we have to be able to cry out for me to God, or for you to whoever, or to whatever, or to spirit, or to creator, or however you want to name it, and for yourself to be able to do it. But I think we have to cry out beyond ourselves a lot to be able to experience this. And then if someone isn't loving us, that doesn't necessarily make them our enemy. I don't think it does. It just means, we're not understanding each other right now. And we can accept that and go on. Yeah. I don't know. That might be... Gail says no, she doesn't want to come on live. Yeah, I'm a little fumbly today. It's an important thing to consider, this love your enemy right now. Look at the world. In some of the things I was watching, I said I was watching this Tom McDonald, this rapper, and some of the people who were watching his videos and their responses. And even no matter which side of the fence, if someone's really open to dialogue and to considering other people's views, they're saying that Twitter is like, get off. You know, social media can so much fight against us on this. It's like the only purpose of it right now is to create division. Gail, thank you. Gail says, I agree that loving our enemies is the work of the Holy Spirit in us. Yeah, we can't just do it ourselves. Once in a while, maybe we can decide to, but, you know, we also run the risk of becoming a little haughty about it. It's a humbling experience, right? It's putting your ego aside and opening up to the value of every person and all of life. And we usually, I think we need Holy Spirit help with that too. I agree. I hope you all will give some feedback on this one. I'd like to come back to it again after seeing what some people say. And I think we need to keep, I'm reading again, I think we need to keep our main focus on relationship with God, and He will do His work in us with our it's cutting you off, with our cooperation. Absolutely. And that's what growing your beautiful life is about. We focus on God, and God does His work through us. And that's how we come to where we can love our enemies. Or even come to the point where we learn that we don't have enemies. Easier said than done. Yes, Gail, I like that. You said it very succinctly. Thank you. We need to keep our focus on God, and God will do His work through us. And that's pretty much always ends up being the message, no matter what I'm talking about here. Because this is the process. We can follow Jesus and do what Jesus did. But real spiritual transformation is about opening up and having the Holy Spirit work through us. And that's a little different than just, they're both important. But I think that's the real work of the walk. The personal openness and the personal change. I guess that's it. That's all I got today. But Gail, thanks for being with me and for your contributions. It's nice to have somebody chime in. Love to hear from y'all, and I really wish you all the very best. I hope life is good to you. I hope you see God in your daily living, and let me know if I can be helpful at all. CoachConnieK@gmail.com, or send a private message. Take care, everybody. See you later.